And we are back to conclude day 2 here of the Ballito Pro, presented by O'Neill. To join me for the post-show, it is Kai Linda and Gig Cilliers alongside me. And it's been a great day of action. We've seen the men's round 1 concluded, and then moving directly into the women's round 1, we saw the first 10 heats. It's been a good day. Are you boys happy?
Gigsy, I'm pretty happy. We started off this morning with some beautiful surf in the lineup and obviously the clean offshore. We knew the northeast was coming though, and sort of towards the back end of the men's it started to sort of rip up the lineup a little bit, but we still saw some incredible heats. We'll chat about Liam O'Brien's heat a little bit later. That was in that onshore and he still managed one of the highest heat scores of the day. Gigs, who were the standouts for you today?
Well, if we think about the last 2 days that have just taken place, I mean, 150 surfers between both men's and women's draw. There's a lot of surfing to process in that answer. I mean, particularly I think of Ryan Callanan coming out the gates this morning, just because it was so fresh, it was crisp offshore, and what was coming out of it was single maneuvers could actually achieve heat advancements. So to me, I think that's a takeaway. Once again, it was a day where we lost championship tour surfers and a couple of other bigger names that we thought could go in the draw. You made mention of Liam O'Brien there. He's back this year. I think, you know, his performances through 2021 and then breaking his leg on the North Shore, that was a tough one for him, but he's looking strong. He posted a really good set of heat totals, and I'm looking forward to see where this all goes. And you know, there's lots to talk about as we sort of wrap up day 2 here.
Yeah, it's been a big day of surfing. For me, it was lovely to see the ladies finally put into the water and seeing that round 1 start. We saw some South Africans advancing through. We also saw our top seed, Joanne de Fey, unfortunately placing 3rd, but just being really unlucky. No luggage arriving, no boards arriving, and yeah, very unfortunate for her. With the women's round of 64, Guy, what was the standout in some of the heats that you were able to commentate in?
Well, look, I mean, as a South African, you've got to love Zoe Steyn. She really attacked that heat, and one of the highest single maneuvers for the ladies, and that for me probably stood out for me the most, but we've got a couple of very exciting girls coming up tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and we will still be seeing more surfing, but we are going to go down to the beach with the heat winner from heat number 10 for the ladies round.
Brianna Cope, that was a long, stressful day for you. You've managed to wait it out for the entire day. Just tell us about how that went for you. Obviously got the heat win, but you had to wait a long time to actually get in the water.
Yeah, definitely. I had to pace myself. I think I visualized for like an hour. I took a little power nap. I'm not used to having the last heat of the day, so preserving the energy was definitely a little stressful, but I'm glad I got it done.
Got the heat win in some testing conditions. You got a couple of, had to say, average results for the first 2 ones of the year, but now you're in South Africa and looking to build momentum into the back half of the Challenger Series. What does it mean to you to have your eyes on that championship tour?
Definitely. I think every time I get in the jersey, it's just a lot more practice and confidence. And yeah, I'm looking to qualify, so let's get the job done.
And quickly before we let you go, you had an interesting experience, a fun experience on the Ultimate Surfer. How was that experience for you?
It was really fun. I actually think it prepped me a lot mentally, just because it was so different than anything we were used to. We were waking up at weird hours of the night, competing at 10 at night. So, you know, definitely was really fun, but a weird challenge.
Well, super fun to have you in South Africa for this event, and all the best for the rest of it.
Thank you. Bye.
Back to you guys.
A very big thank you to Brad Bricknell with that post-heat interview. Brianna Cope just looking so relaxed and so comfortable and ready for that second round. We'll be seeing her when surfing starts again tomorrow, hopefully. But just going back to the South Africans, we've got 9 South Africans left in the draw. I thought it was a good day for the South Africans. We had a good day yesterday, seeing 3 advance through. Having the Ballito Pro come back here, seeing for the first time these caliber of women surfers for our ladies being able to compete on this global stage, how do you think our South African ladies have fared with competing against some of those internationals?
Yeah, well, again, I'll say Zoe Steyn definitely put her hand up there, you know, and Sarah Baum as well. Very confident display from her. She's sitting in 12th at the moment on the Challenger rankings and showing why. So I think those two definitely putting up their hands. Of course, we're still going to see Sarah Scott, the young surfer from Cape Town tomorrow. Gabriella Herbst, also a very young surfer. And for them, I think more, you know, this is going to be that learning curve. Sarah was in Australia on the first 2 events. I think she found it quite tough, but she's only 15, 16, so she's got a long way to go. And what an opportunity for her to really get her experience up by being in these challenger events.
Yeah, I think just to add to what Kai is saying there, Zoe Steyn to me actually was the standout. I know there's been a lot of hype around her, not a great visit to Oz for the Challenger Series for her there. But I think this is her chance to shine. And, you know, if you look at the spread of the 8 Challenger Series, it's where the qualifying series feeds into those. So as we go region by region, there will be these strong national pushes. And I think, you know, it's fair to say that for us, South Africa is going to have a shot at it. Zoe Steyn on the men's side, you know, you've got 5 names. We did have 12 to start on the men's draw. But, I mean, I'm liking the looks of Slade Prestwich as far as an option. I think Luke Thompson has put his hand up this year. He's showed his pedigree and managed a really good heat yesterday, and what was a pretty loaded first round heat for him. And you know, just thinking of those things. And then to me, the other one, just to harp on, is Aiden Mason-Camp. You know, it's his time. It's his time to shine. He showed his flair back in 2018, 2019 on the qualifying series, but it was still a little bit of an emotional up and down for Aiden. He's incredibly matured over the last few years, and I'm looking forward to what Aiden brings.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. Aiden looking really good, but we've also seen Shane Sykes, the local boy, coming through, and he enjoys the support of the South African crowd on the beach. But we are going to be talking about our highest heat total for the men. Liam O'Brien in that round of 96, heat number 22. His first ride, a 7.83, backing it up with a 6.87. Let's see how he performed out here.
Well, this kid is a solid surfer, and it's good to see him back at his back. That first turn, absolutely electric, and just straight back into the second turn. And you see him on the big closeout maneuver. This was about 20 seconds into the heat, so he really started with a bang. And you look at this beautiful water angle. This morning really were dreamy conditions on the Ballito bank, that beautiful blue water. And that is the close there. And here comes your wave 2. This was a 6.67. And a little bit sort of in the middle of the heat, and you could already see the wind starting to affect it during this heat. Loved the first turn, and then really throwing that board up for the big vertical hit and finishing strong. So Liam was saying in his post-heat interview, it's been a really nervous time for him because he's had a lot of ups and downs with injuries, falling off, getting back on, falling off, and he's just glad he could get you. Really laid down a solid first heat, and now he's looking forward to moving through the rounds and hopefully getting back to that championship tour.
Yeah, it would be great to see Liam back up there. We are going to check out the highlights from our ladies' highest wave score. Bronte McCauley will be coming up on the screen now.
There's something that we can take out of what Bronte did, and it's what a lot of the surfers with the championship tour experience will bring, is just rock solid fundamentals. That was my feeling on this. You know, they do everything with no frills, and they get their 2 waves per heat. You lead back to the discussion with Liam O'Brien. You can even with Frederico Moraes a little earlier in the morning, that pedigree of surf, and of course Bronte represents that by being part of the championship tour and having that experience. They just do everything basically fundamentally well. They can lift a notch, of course, but rock solid from Bronte. I like what she brought to the party in Ballito this morning.
Absolutely loved the power surfing.
Yeah, good power surfing, solid surfing. We are going to have a little discussion on the surf forecast, what we can expect in the next few days, and it is gigs in the hot seat with that.
Well, it's always a favourite discussion, right? Surfers, we live and breathe by our Surfline forecasts, and just having a look, today was day 3 of the waiting period. Tomorrow we go to the next day on it, and we've got the big southwest buster that's going to come through, and despite it really blowing through the lineup, it's going to be side offshore kind. I think that's going to help us. We're going to see some lefts come back into it. Period's going to go down, size is going to go up. I think there's good stuff to be on offer. I don't think it's going to be a difficult call for Travis Logie tomorrow morning to get going with the call. That high tide moving a little bit further into the day itself, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. And then we go into the back part through to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all that swell, it will march up. We'll start getting a little fragmented with the onshores, but as Travis said this morning, no problem if there's swell in the water and the onshore comes, we're rolling. And I think by the time we get to Sunday morning, we could end up with overhead waves and, well, some light wind conditions to crown our champions.
So it sounds like we've got a lot of action coming up with the Ballito Pro. We are going to talk about the top 5 waves of the day, and starting off with Macy Callahan finding a 7.33.
Well, I called this heat on the mic, and I love how she just took off straight into the big bottom turn and just whipped the board over the top. It was a big, heavy section, and she did really well on those high tide bumps riding out of it.
Yeah, Macy Callahan looking really good. We now go to Frederica Moret, the 737 gigs.
Well, I made reference to this as I was chatting about Bronte's waves. Championship Tour level surfing comes to the Challenger Series. And this one here salvaged the heat for Federico Moraes. He actually incurred an interference in this as well, but based on just the strong lines there, that in and out of the pocket, upside down, strong, he let go of a lot of energy on that, and to me, that's what salvaged his heat. He did have the interference, like I said, but fundamental surfing like that couldn't be denied by the judging panel.
And then here we see Liam O'Brien coming up with the 7.83. And you can just see, like you said, Giggs, how the onshore flow started happening. I mean, he spoke about it in his post-heat interview, but just some really solid surfing from Liam. 2 different angles with the same wave.
Just beautiful, simple surfing. Really a lot of control on the board. And Liam showing why he is touted as one of the top up-and-coming surfers on the tour. And of course, Aidan Mason Camp, this kid Giggs was blowing him up just now. There's good reason for that. The Strand local, a lot of power, a really rock solid rail game. And as you said, Giggs, he's really looking like he's finding his form.
Yeah, Mason Camp has matured. And well, of course, by this time in the draw, as we were starting to wrap up the men's round, Aidan had to deal with a little bit of onshore. It's not a problem. Saw the bowl starting to develop as the swell fractured. Well, no problem for any of the top surfers. This is Bronte again. And, well, just to speak to the testimony of the rock-solid fundamentals of surfing, there's the power on display.
Yeah, love how she surfs, really. And she just finished this wave so strong. And the West Australian showing what you got to do out there.
Yeah, such a great day of surfing. We will be tuning in tomorrow. I believe it's a 6:30 a.m. call for a possible 7:05 start. But thank you so much to Kai, Linda, Giggs Hilliers, and myself, Tasha Mintasti. You guys will be seeing us tomorrow bright and early to make the call. This is the Ballito Pro presented by O'Neill.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.